Now please greet Lucie Cocquempot, Coordinator of Observation Networks at IFREMER and a leading figure in several European and international research infrastructures. She brings a collaborative and forward-looking approach to ocean observation. Her reflections invite us to rethink innovation not simply as more technology or data, but as more inclusive, more social and more sustainable ways of observing our changing world.
Thank you very much for this nice introduction. Thank you, Campus de la Mer, IEEE, René, for having me. I cite the privilege of having the whole international community dedicated to marine engineering here in front of me. Maybe you arrived this weekend, or maybe you arrived earlier in June, because the activity related to marine sciences in my country has been pretty dense. But in case you haven't spent the last 2 weeks in the French Riviera, let me just give you an overview of what was happening in Nice earlier this month. Last week took place the United Nations Ocean Conference number 3 in Nice. And here are my take-home messages from this conference. But first, you'll have to excuse me because I come with a bias. I tend to focus mainly on ocean observation because that's what I do at national and European level. So from this conference, I can say that ocean issues are gaining attention at the highest political levels. And we had a nice illustration of that in the previous presentation with Emmanuel Macron saying, "C'est génial." Then observations were increasingly recognized as essential for effective action regarding ocean health, climate security, coastal resilience, forecasting, and sustainable development. And ocean observing systems were mentioned as critical infrastructures requiring sustainable investment and international cooperation. And the last quote is something that I really like, that government, private sector, society must act collectively. And Vidar from IOC UNESCO left us with this sentence: let's observe the ocean as if life depends on it, because it does. Previous to that UN conference, we had a scientific congress, and that was a meaningful act to have a scientific conference back-to-back with a political one. The scientific community was sending the message that we were ready, we were expecting some action, some political statement, and I would like to thank the European Commission for delivering this Ocean Pact. That was a meaningful event during this week. And some take-home messages from this scientific conference was that one of the recommendations is underpinning the needs for strengthening oceanographic research and particularly enhancing observation and modeling capacity and facilitating knowledge sharing. And a second point I would like to share with you is that several sessions emphasize the need to bridge the gap between knowledge and action by combining scientific information with emotional engagement, storytelling, and lived experience. And I think we had a really nice example of that in the previous presentation. Thank you, Betty, for that. We need emotions. We don't need only data, we need emotion. But I agree that the situation is quite severe right now. The ocean drives impact on society dramatically. But also, society drives impact on the ocean. It's like we're hurting the nature, and the nature is fighting back. And in those kind of dramatic situations, we may feel that we need more data. We need more information in order to better inform, to better alert, in order to mitigate these actions of the nature and of humanity. But we are facing multiple challenges. The first one is that only 1% of national research budget support ocean science. The societal demand for more accurate prediction and forecasting services is increasing exponentially. And the current global effort is maybe not enough to meet the demand, and a drastic change is needed across the data value chain. Some regions are requiring more data. We need to understand better the need from the scientific community and also the need from the industry. And we need to make all the existing data available now because the situation is demanding. But in this critical period, we may also think that the more data we have, the safer we may feel, but eventually we won't become any wiser. We need to change the paradigm, and because my community was trying to observe all it could. And we need to change from this situation when we try to observe what we need to only observe what we want, to find the right amount of data that we need in order to understand better, to provide information to digital twins, and to make our politicians act wisely. Because discussing with some colleagues, the data sphere is increasing dramatically. This is a collection that we have from a French research project, but it is international data. And we can see that we are collecting more and more data. And we don't need as many data as we want, as we could. We need the right amount of data because we need to have the capacity to ingest that in the right data aggregator. And we need the appropriate metadata, and we need appropriate information about the quality of the data, the uncertainties that comes along with the data. And when it comes also to the acquisition of more data, more sensors, to increase the market of the marine industry, I tend to refer to Franz Timmermans, who used to work at the European Commission. And it's time to end the model of take, make, break, and throw away that is so harmful to our planet, to our health, and to our economy. Today's proposition is to ensure that the most sustainable products are sold in Europe, and I would extend that to the world. And we want a customer to save energy, to repair, to replace broken products, and to make smart environmental choices when they are shopping new ones. So this is my strong message for the industry. We need to reduce, reuse, and recycle our sensors. We need to work together to a more sustainable world and market for marine sciences. The oceans and the nature deserve that. Yes, sustainable development, the all good sustainable development. This concept has been around for quite many years now. But I like this definition that sustainable development focuses on meeting the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their need. We need to do that for our children. We need to find the right balance between what's good for the society, what's good for the economy, and what's good for the environment. And when it comes to ocean observations, it means that we need to address those three questions: how to build a sustainable business model on ocean observation, how to reduce observation environmental footprint, and how to support cultural change and collective resilience. Big questions. But I think the previous presentations from Zoe and from Bette gave us some elements to address those questions, those big challenges. Maybe part of the solution will come from the digital twin, and also I count on better coordination and synergies when it comes to ocean governances. But my specific points, and the point I would like to address is my presentation, in the next part of my presentation, is how building bridges between different communities could help as well. And I will come with 4 types of bridges for the next part of my presentation. First bridges are linked to connecting the scientific community and the industry. And I would like to mention here two initiatives. The first one was initiated by a small group coming from the US, MTS, Marine Technology Society, NOAA, and also colleagues from Goose and Carlsberg Consulting. It's called Dialogues with Industry. I don't know if you have already heard of this initiative. They published a roadmap last year, and they are addressing what they call the Ocean Observing Enterprise. The Ocean Enterprise gathers all the actors from public and private sector, from academy to industry, having a need for the ocean data value chain. And in this very nice roadmap, you will find actionable roadmap, action plan, typical points that we need to address collectively. And that's a very nice way to engage conversation with the industry and the scientific community, improving the marketplace, shaping the future together, collaboration to grow and impact change. And for each of these topics, you have a very nice fact sheets with success indicators, action pathways, and linkage to other initiatives. I would encourage you to go and find this document online. The second initiative regarding building bridges between scientific community and the industry is based in Europe. It's linked to EOS. EOS is the European Ocean Observing System. And every 2 years, EOS is organizing a technology forum. Last edition happened last year at Oceanology International in London. It was a great event, a great occasion, opportunity to catch the momentum in ocean observing technology, optimizing the value and the data provisions. We were talking about cost-efficient solutions and addressing all the challenges from metrology to data aggregation to sustainable business model. I will encourage you to read this report as well. That was really an interesting moment for our community and a strong move regarding the industry. The second bridge I would like to refer to is interaction between Global North and Global South. And of course, here I'm mentioning two ways interaction because we have to learn, we have a lot to learn from each other. And I would like to mention here a small initiative I happen to know because I was part of an OBPS task team dedicated to coastal observation with under-resourced countries. It's called CoLab, Coastal Observation Lab in a Box. It's led by Greg Cowie and Juliette Hermers, two colleagues, one from the UK, the other one from South Africa. And their plan, their dream here is to build a coastal observatory station that would fit into a suitcase with all the instruments you need to perform physical, biological, biogeochemical coastal observations. It's the focal points of this project are co-design, are to use low-cost, old-school instruments, and to train oceanographers all over the world. And if you would like to take part in this initiative, whether being a scientist, a trainer, a trainee, a philanthropist providing money to this project, or a company, an industry, design, manufacturer of sensors, feel free to come and join this wonderful initiative because at the end of the day, we just have one ocean and we need observation from everywhere, from north and south. Thanks, Ocean Best Practices, for highlighting such initiatives. Third bridges come with fair development, cost-effective technologies. I learned a lot about FAIR principle thanks to the Blue Cloud project and to the EOS community, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank them here. And now I could define myself as a FAIR ambassador because I try to apply those principles not only to my data, but to my collaborations. So this is a personal experience of collaboration I had with a small company, an SME. It was called Oceanobox, and we received some money from a little call for tender led by my institution, IFREMER, and Kineis, in order to boost the development of marine and maritime services using the Internet of Things via a constellation of nanosatellites. So it was just a 24-month project, a small amount of money, but we planned to do something in a fair way. And the topic of our project was to co-develop an in-situ meteo-ocean data collection solution using a network of vessels of opportunity and Kineis technology to make the collection of high-quality marine scientific data affordable and easy to implement. So when I first heard about this project, I must admit that I said to myself, oh no, not another startup wanted to make money out of data collection in the ocean. I won't buy any data from this company. And I know how they work. You know them probably too. They start by saying, we will produce data in the format of our choice. So that's not something that I'm happy to hear. It's not interoperable with my other data. Then the startup says, we will sell the data to you. Every data that we will acquire, you will have to pay for that. And that's not findable for the whole community, so that's not the way to go. And then those kind of startups used to say to me that they will keep their data in their own data system. And that you need to be a client in order to access the data. So it was not accessible for others. And of course, every time I would produce a research result, they would like royalties, publicity. So basically, it was very difficult for me to reuse those kinds of data. So I was quite skeptical when I heard about this company, Oceanovox. But it turned out the collaboration went totally another way. Instead of saying we produce the data in the format of our choice, they said that they will use the vocabulary that follow FAIR principles, and they will initiate contacts with EMODNet data ingestion team. So I was quite pleased to hear that. And then they built their business model in order to make the scientific community use the data free of charge. But they will build services out of those data, and they will sell those services to companies. But for the scientific community, the data was free. And the data was shared online and made available through reference databases. And the metadata were released with no restriction in a clear and accessible way using the right licenses system. So it was quite a nice collaboration, and I tend to say that it was a fair collaboration because the data were then interoperable, findable, accessible, and reusable. And basically, you remember the goal of this project was to co-develop a data collection solution. So IFREMER, we built this small system, a low-cost system, and the company built the app, the mobile app, in order to share the data, not only with the ship of opportunity, but also to the whole community with a web-based application. And during this project ended a few months ago. So it's now a time for me to share with you the lucky findings of this collaboration. First, through this project, because it was open, it was fair, we were able to work with a Fab Lab, UBO Open Factory. And we learned a lot about the Creative Commons licenses. And we're pleased to say that our local solution was developed with a group of students during a hackathon, aquathon, as we say, because it was dedicated to marine solutions. Then, the sensor that we used during this exercise was made from a company, RBR, that may be in the room. And we were happy to see that this company was somehow following also the FAIR principles, putting on its website some documents available, manuals, application notes, and more. They were very happy to answer our questions during our development, to take part in the solution, and maybe the problem debugging as well. And they were very happy, very keen on collaborating with us. So from suppliers, they become partner. When you're opening your results with the right licenses, then it's easier to integrate more colleagues and to welcome other collaborations. So from supplier, he became a partner. And that's now a good success story. And then I think during this project, we became FAIR Principles Ambassador, paying attention to common vocabulary, paying also attention to information management in order to ease the decision-making process. Yes, we did have a strong focus on communication and on the promotion of the achievements, and we had a transparent governance and an easy-to-access team. And the last lucky funding of this project is that we had the opportunity to link with the society, because we were lucky enough to have 2 of those prototypes on board to competitive IMOCA boats doing the Vendée Globe. And let me start a parenthesis here. I'm not sure if all of you knows about the Vendée Globe. Let's build a bridge with this type of society, with those actors. The Vendée Globe is a French race. It's a solo, non-stop, around the world sailing race without assistance. If you're not familiar with this race, all you need to know from my presentation is that the route is super challenging, going all around Antarctica. So it's quite a challenge for the racers, but it's also quite impressive for the scientific community, because those data around the Southern Ocean are very valuable in order to understand the climate changes. And for this 2024-25 edition of this race, the race director made a bold move. They decided to commit to science, given the importance of this data around Antarctica. So a partnership was built between Vendée Globe, the organizers of the race, UNESCO, IMOCA class. IMOCA class is a type of boat. And we set 2 objectives. The first target for the edition 24-25 was to have half of the fleet equipped with scientific instruments. For the next edition, the upcoming edition in 4 years now, the target is to have 100% of the fleet equipped. Of course, we have many actors involved in this collaboration, not only one research institution in France, but many, Météo France, CNES, and also other scientific institutions in Europe and in the world. And we have strong actors from the UN Decade, GOOD, UNESCO, WMO. The budget for the first edition of this collaboration was just leverage money for coordination of the project, but we hope that in 4 years we'll have additional money in order to be able to buy instruments or to provide new solutions. But for this edition, so the target was 50% of the fleet equipped, we were lucky enough to have 25 skippers committed to science, 25 skippers out of 40. I would like to pay tribute to those guys and the women that took instrumentation on board, even though the race was already challenging. So if you want more details, here are the types of instruments that were carried by the boats. We had 10 Argo floats, IFREMER provided them. We had weather buoys, we had Argo magnet beacons, Mintaka stations, some small devices, and then you have 2 TSG Gaia, the prototype that we did with Oceanovox. We also had ocean packs from Subsetec, Plantoscope that you may have heard about, microplastic laboratory, and Eodine buoys. And so, yeah, IFREMER did 3 types of collaboration, because, you know, when you want to collect information from the ocean, you only have 3 types. Either you deploy autonomous sensors, or you collect some samples, or you carry out continuous measurements. So the first thing that we did with the Vendée Globe is to give Argo floats to 10 captains so they could deploy them in the south of the Atlantic, because our engineers told us that that was a spot where we needed information. We also had a nice collaboration with Fabrice Amedeo, collecting plastic on a continuous manner. This was quite demanding in terms of involvement on board, but also in terms of data treatment on land afterwards. And the last part of the collaboration from the IFREMER side, but other scientific partners were involved as well, was those 2 prototypes we developed in a fair manner with Oceanovox. And we were lucky enough to have 2 captains, Romain Atanasio and Antoine Cornic, taking those instruments on board, even though they were prototypes. And the idea with this project was not only to raise the intention of the Vendée Globe, the race, but also to develop a first version of the device that could then be extended to the world of recreational sailing. Our idea was to have an affordable device with a simple and robust protocol so we can address a larger community. And I would like to, maybe I will take the opportunity of the next conference, Oceans 2026, to share the results of this project, but they are quite promising so far. So this was an opportunity to engage a strong dialogue with the society, not only with the teams, although they had very high qualified engineers, so it was very pleasant to interact about the processes, and they came up with the new ideas for our devices, so it was quite rewarding for us. But we also had a very nice media relay through PR agency, TV, radio, press coverage, and so on. This race had a website, and we were able to produce scientific articles that were quite popular in this website, and they had also a TV show, and every Friday we had the opportunity to talk about science, which was quite unusual, but quite important for us as well. So yeah, the dialogue with society was engaged and was really rewarding for all the people involved. And we also had a nice media coverage, and we were able to reach audience of 1.4 million, 2.2 million when it comes to French radio, and 4.4 million when it comes to French TV. And of course, we had also opportunities during the UN conference to highlight how important it was to build those kind of bridges with society. But my last example is not about famous racers and TV shows and a big audience on national television. It's about building bridges with the coastal community that we are all connected with. And for that, I would like to share with you some information about the Lancelot project. Lancelot project is a European project, also financed by the UK RI agency. Lancelot stands for Let's Observe Land Sea Interface Together. And the objective of this project is to integrate, to scale up, to enhance existing observation effort conducted by satellite, in situ, including citizen science program, together with numerical simulations in order to better study the land-sea interface where terrestrial and marine habitats meet. So here we are dealing with citizen science associations, schools, with associations, NGOs, wanted to interact more, to serve better the nature, to help the scientific community. So this project has received some money from the European Commission and UKRI. It has 20 partners from 12 nations. It's quite well distributed across Europe. It started February 2024 and will last 4 years. And what I like in this partnership is that we have a nice distribution between scientific organizations, industries, enterprises, and citizen science program ambassadors. So maybe you would like me to share the recipe for co-designing a common observation strategy with all those people. And then I will tell you that it's like French cuisine. It might look a little bit sophisticated and complicated at the beginning, but when you break down all the steps, then it comes easy. So the first thing that you need to co-design a common observation strategy is first to defragment it across communities and domains, to gather the people, bring them together, and let them talk about their methodologies, and let's see how we can integrate and harmonize that. Then you need to focus on a specific topic, and the specific topic here is the ocean data value chain, how we transform data into information, then into knowledge, and into impact and action. So we shared experiences on this data value chain that is so important for us, for the European Commission and the Ocean Pact. And then, when you want to design a common observation strategy, you need to pay attention to communication, dissemination, exploitation. Remember the FAIR principles. Sharing common vocabulary is the key. You need to devote time and resources to communication issues. This is really important if you want to work well together. And then you need to try, you need to test, you need to have sandboxes so you can experiment. And we also have that in this Lancelot project. We have Lancelot integration labs based all over Europe, 9 labs. I will come back to that. So very shortly, I will share you the work divisions. As usual in European projects, we do work packages. So we have one on coordination and management. We have one dedicated to the strategy for the land sea interface, one on integrated observation and model frameworks, one increasing the observation capacities through local sensor and citizen science program. I'm part of this one if you want to ask me questions afterwards. Then we have those integration labs, we have the data management services, and last and not least, communication, dissemination, and exploitation. That may look promising to you, but that also looks promising to some actors in Europe. You may know the European Space Agency, ESA. They said that they look forward to the output of the Lancelot in terms of improving the process understanding, monitoring, and prediction capability for a wide range of phenomena impacting coastal populations. You may know as well OSPAR and HELCOM. Those are regional sea conventions in Europe. And they said, I'm quoting, observation with Lancelot will certainly enable us to concentrate on assessment rather than on handling information. Like we need them to focus on assessment, on impact and action, and we'll take care about handling the data and the info. And lastly, Edito Model Lab, this digital twin community, said that they are waiting for Lancelot in order to better define the land-sea interface. This is a critical zone to be observed, and we need that for the digital twin. And that's something that I like about this project. It's not about a story of 20 partners. It's reaching out a bigger, a wider community through targeted stakeholder groups. So we have a group at the Lancelot Co-Design Forum when we welcome all the stakeholders from local scale, regional, national, European one. We also include regional infrastructures. We have also a group in this project, which is the Lancelot Scientific Forum, where all the scientifics and data scientists and managers are welcome. And we have a last group, my favorite one, the Lancelot Citizen Science Hub, when we gather all the users, managers of the land sea environment, all those campaigners, the citizen science leaders and amplifiers. And where are we doing that? Here is the map of the 9 Lancelot integration labs. You can find us in the Po Delta and North Adriatic, in Tagus and Sado estuary system in Portugal, in Gulf of Lyon, Rhône, in the Mediterranean Sea, in Sea estuary and Bay, in Firth of Forth, in the UK, in Wadden Sea, the Rhine-Elbe, in Baltic, in Danube Delta and coastal areas, and in Greece, in North Aegean. So, if you want to join our community, if you feel like you are a member of this Earth and Ocean Observing community, if you feel like you are engaged in the observation system, or if you are managing environmental challenges within the vicinity of one of our Lancelot integration lab, or if you just would like to get involved in citizen science group, feel free to come and join us, and please visit this website. Okay, I think it's the end of my presentation. Let's observe together, let's build bridges, and I would like to thank you.